בוקר טוב רבותיי, ברשות המורה אבי, sitting in Shiva, so חילק כבודות, אנחנו מן השמיים את השם. רבותיי, yesterday, the whole day we were talking in the house of the Avel about the tzaddiket, the Rabbanit Mazal Tov, and we were talking about all the amazing midot and how big of a tzaddiket that she was. And something very interesting that came up many times was the fact that my grandmother took each and every one of her kids that she wanted them to be in the path of the Torah and mitzvot. And she didn't just send them to a yeshiva in the city. She didn't just send them to any yeshiva in Eretz Israel. She made it as a point to take her kids and to cross them to the other side of the world, and only on the other side of the world, there they can sit and learn Torah. So I was thinking, and it's a very simple question. Isn't it a normal thing that if there's two options to send your kid to the other side of the world or to take him to a yeshiva here in the city, which one would everyone do?
Closer to home.
Closer to home. You would take your kids to the closer to home. It reminded me of a story in the Gemara Bava Metzia, on page Pei Amud Bet. There the Gemara says that Rabbi Hanina went to Rabbi Chia. And Rabbi Hanina told Rabbi Chia, he said, you know, I have within me the power that if the Torah will be forgotten, I will be able to bring it back. Meaning that if the Torah would be forgotten and there would be no more Torah in the world, with my memory, with my koach of the Kedusha, I will be able to rewrite the Torah and re-bring it down. Rabbi Chia looked at Rabbi Hanina and he said, okay, that's nice. But the difference between me and you, that you will bring it back if it gets lost. But me, I won't let it get lost. Me, I won't allow the Torah to be forgotten in the first place, and I won't have to bring it back because it will never be forgotten. So Rabbi Hanina asked Rabbi Chia, how is that? Why is that? So Rabbi Chia said, you know, what did I do in order for the Torah to never be forgotten? He said, I went to the field and I planted pishtan. I took a pishtan. Wool? Pishtan.
Wool.
Linen. I took seeds of linen and I planted linen and I grew the trees of linen. I took the linen itself. I made strings out of it. After I made strings out of it, I sewed nets. And after I sewed nets, I set traps. And when I set traps, I caught ayalot, like deers. I did Shlita to those deers. The meat, I sent it to orphans to eat. And the skin, I worked it for it to be like parchment, to do books in it. I wrote Chamisha Chumshe Torah. I would write the whole Torah by hand. I would write the Shisha Siddur Mishnah. After, when I wrote all those books, I would take those books to cities where there is no Talmidei Chacham, where there is no learners. I would take 5 young boys to learn the Chamisha Chumshe Torah, 5 young boys to learn the 5 books of the HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us through Moshe, and I would take another 6 boys and teach them the Shisha Siddur Mishnah, the Siddur Mishnah of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and I would leave. And I would make those kids that learned the Chamisha Chumshe Torah teach those who learned the Shisha Siddur Mishnah. And like that, I would go from city to city and make sure that in every city, Torah is being taught, and in every city, there is new Talmidim being spread. I will tell you, there's a simple question. Why did Rabbi Chia go through all that trouble? What, Rabbi Chia couldn't just go to the market and buy a net? Rabbi Chia couldn't just go to the market and buy sheets of leather, and from the leather to write books? He couldn't just go and buy parchment, and from the parchment he'll write on it, or buy books even. Why does Rabbi Chia have to go and plant his own linen? And after he plants his own linen, he sews his own nets, and not only that, making the linen into string, and he goes through all this ticha, all this trouble for what? And that's what the is simple. Something that is done with Mesirut Nefesh. Something that is done, that a person goes above and beyond, and he does Mesirut Nefesh for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Something like that stands forever. When a person does something with Mesirut Nefesh, he he runs and he gives himself, he gives his neshama to do this mitzvah, that mitzvah that is done with Mesirut Nefesh can never, ever, ever, Rabotai, be forgotten. It's something that lasts forever. We even look, Rabotai, at Yaakov. We look at all the Avot. Avraham. What was his name before HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed it? Avraham. HaKadosh Baruch Hu added what? Hey to his name. What did the Torah say? That we're not allowed to call him what? What are we not allowed to call him?
Avraham.
We're not allowed to call him the name before that HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed it. It's like in Yisur, we're not allowed to call him without the Hey. Why is it that Yaakov, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed his name to Israel, we still call him Yaakov and Israel? Why?
No.
Why, Rabotai? Why with Avraham or with any one of the Avot that they change their name? We no longer call them their previous name, but Yaakov we call Yaakov and we call Israel. Why? Because, Rabotai, the answer is simple. Why was Yaakov named Yaakov? Why was Yaakov called Yaakov? Ki kevani. That Yaakov twice, what did he do? The first time that he grabbed the leg of his brother Esav, and he didn't let him go. And the second time was with what? That Esav mentioned? Fi brachot. Something that was done with Mesirut Nefesh. That Yaakov, he went above and beyond. He put himself in a bad situation to do this mitzvah. He had Mesirut Nefesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will never take away something that was done with Mesirut Nefesh. Yaakov was called Yaakov because he did Mesirut Nefesh. And because that Mesirut Nefesh, we're not allowed to stop calling him Yaakov. Something that is done with Mesirut Nefesh can never be forgotten. Something that is done with Mesirut Nefesh lasts forever. And that, Rabotai, is what we see Be'emet with the Rabbanit. She went above and beyond. There was no reason for her to go to London and to New York and to cross the entire world. There was yeshivot in Yerushalayim, there was yeshivot in Tel Aviv at that time. There was yeshivot in Ashdod. There was no need. There was no Yerushalayim.
No, Grodna was there.
גרודנה, תלמידי החכמים הכי גדולים יצאו מגרודנה. לא, יש הרבה. There was no reason, Rabotai, for her to cross the entire world. But she did it with Mesirut Nefesh. Something that she did with Mesirut Nefesh, we can see today the result. How thousands of people all around the world, they learn Torah. Thousands of people in this we see in her alvaya, in her burial, that thousands of people came. Thousands of people came. Where did that all come from? Rabotai, it all comes from the roots of Mesirut Nefesh. She was willing to get up and to limsor nefesh. I don't know how to translate the word limsor nefesh. To sacrifice herself. To devote herself, to sacrifice herself to the mitzvah. Something that is done with Mesirut Nefesh can never be forgotten. So that, Rabotai, is the big lesson. And maybe that is from the merit of the Rabbanit. Protect us all. Unfortunately, now we're saying that before we would say may the merit of her mitzvot protect her. Now we're using her merit to protect us.
Amen, amen.
הקדוש ברוך הוא בית השם.
Amen.
שנחם את הרב אמר דעתרא, and בית השם, to next time to only have בשורות טובות.
אמן, רק בשמחות.
For all המשפחה בית השם.